If you've been watching crypto for the last few years, you already know one thing. Stablecoins quietly became the backbone of the entire industry. Forget the hype about Bitcoin ETFs or Ethereum scaling wars for a second. If you strip crypto down to what people actually use on a day-to-day basis, stablecoins are the real killer app. And here we are in 2025, staring at a battlefield that's way more crowded, way more competitive, and way more important than ever before. Because make no mistake, the fight for the tokenized dollar is not just about crypto. It's about who controls the future of digital money itself. Why stablecoins took over. Let's rewind for a second. Back in the early days, people thought Bitcoin itself would be the global money, borderless, censorship-resistant, a true digital cash. But reality hit. Bitcoin is too volatile for everyday transactions. Nobody wants to get paid in Bitcoin today only to see the value swing 10% tomorrow. That's where stablecoins came in. They solved the volatility problem by giving people the best of both worlds. The stability of the US dollar plus the efficiency of blockchain rails. You could send $50 from Lagos to London in seconds. You could pay freelancers in Manila without worrying about crazy bank fees. You could save money in a stable currency even if your local currency was inflating away. And because the majority of the world's financial system still revolves around the dollar-backed stablecoin became king. By 2023 to 2024, stablecoins were processing more on-chain transaction volume than Visa. Yeah, read that again. That's how huge this got. The giants of the stablecoin world. Fast forward to 2025, and two names still dominate the space. USDT Tether, the OG, the heavyweight champ, the one that thrives despite endless FUD. Tether's market cap now sits north of $110 billion. Its main strength? Ubiquity. If you trade crypto anywhere in the world, from Binance to some obscure local exchange, USDT is there. It's the dollar of crypto traders. USDC Circle, the regulated, polished, Wall Street-friendly option, backed by BlackRock connections and deeply tied to U.S. banking infrastructure. USDC is the choice for institutions, fintech apps, and anyone who wants a compliant stablecoin they can trust won't disappear overnight. Between these two, you basically have a duopoly. They own the liquidity, the trust, and the user base. Together, they account for over 90% of all stablecoin transactions globally. But here's the twist. 2025 brought new challengers to the table. PayPal with PYUSD, Stripe experimenting with tokenized payments, and whispers of even central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, creeping into the conversation. So now the question isn't just Tether or USDC? It's who else can realistically carve out space in this trillion-dollar market? The role of networks, Ethereum, Tron, Solana, and Stellar. Stablecoins don't just exist in a vacuum. They live on blockchains. And the choice of blockchain is just as important as the brand of stablecoin itself. Ethereum is still the default home for most stablecoins. It has the biggest ecosystem, the most liquidity, and the strongest institutional presence. But gas fees, even with scaling solutions, are still a turnoff for small payments. Tron quietly became the king of stablecoin transfers. Why? Because in Asia and emerging markets, people care about low fees and speed. Tron offered that, and now it processes more stablecoin transfers than Ethereum. Solana surged as a high-speed alternative, especially in DeFi and trading. Big players like Circle even expanded USDC natively on Solana. And then you have Stellar XLM. Stellar was actually one of the first blockchains built with payments and stablecoins in mind. Low fees, instant settlement, and partnerships with NGOs and payment providers made it a natural fit for the money movement side of crypto. While Stellar never became the flashy DeFi casino like Ethereum or Solana, it quietly positioned itself as the blockchain where real people could send real money cheaply and reliably. Now, in 2025, that positioning matters more than ever. Because the stablecoin war isn't just about trading anymore, it's about remittances, payroll, microtransactions, aid disbursement, and mainstream adoption. And Stellar is one of the few blockchains actually optimized for those use cases. Why this battlefield is so important? Think about it. If stablecoins are the bridge between the traditional dollar system and the crypto world, Then the blockchain that captures stablecoin flows becomes the new digital payment highway. This isn't just about fees or speculation. It's about who moves billions in remittances every year, who powers fintech apps in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, who integrates with banks, governments, and corporations looking to modernize payments. In other words, whoever wins the stablecoin game could end up running the plumbing of the new global financial system. And that's why this battlefield is so heated. Because Tether, Circle, PayPal, Stripe, Stellar, Solana, Tron, and even governments all see the same opportunity. So where does Stellar fit into all this? It already hosts USDC, and as of late 2024, PayPal's PYUSD launched on Stellar too. That's huge. Its infrastructure is tailor-made for low-cost, high-volume stablecoin payments. It has years of experience working with NGOs and humanitarian projects. Think United Nations, World Food Program, etc. It's focused not on traders, but on everyday people moving money across borders. The question isn't whether Stellar can support stablecoins. It's whether Stellar can grab enough volume and liquidity to actually matter in this global race. Because here's the truth. Liquidity is king. You can have the best tech in the world, but if people can't easily trade in and out of your stablecoin, it won't gain traction. That's the uphill battle Stellar faces against the giants. The stage is set. So here we are, 2025. The stablecoin market has ballooned past $1 trillion in circulation. Tether and USDC dominate, but cracks in the duopoly are showing. New players are stepping in. Networks are fighting for stablecoin settlement volume. And in the middle of it all, Stellar is making its move, quietly but steadily positioning itself as the blockchain for real-world stablecoin adoption. The stablecoin battlefield isn't just some side story in crypto. It's the main event, and how Stellar navigates it will determine whether XLM stays a niche payment chain or becomes one of the most important financial networks of the next decade. So now that we've set the stage for the stablecoin battlefield, let's talk about where Stellar fits in, and specifically what it means to have the tokenized dollar living on its rails. Because here's the thing. Stellar wasn't built as a casino chain for memecoins. It wasn't built for the NFT hype cycle or for yield-chasing traders. It was built for one job, moving money. And in 2025, moving money increasingly means moving dollars on-chain. Why Stellar makes sense for stablecoins. If you've ever tried to send USDC on Ethereum during peak hours, you already know the pain. Insane gas fees, unpredictable confirmation times, and the feeling that this future of finance is slower than just using PayPal. Now compare that with Stellar. Transactions settle in 2 to 5 seconds. Fees are literally a fraction of a cent. The network has been battle-tested since 2014 with no major downtime. For stablecoins, that's basically the dream environment. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to pay $10 in fees to send $50. But on Stellar, you can send that $50 across the world instantly, and the fee doesn't even register as a rounding error. This is why Stellar has quietly become the ideal home for stablecoins. And in 2025, we're finally seeing big players recognize that. The PayPal moment. When PayPal announced that its stablecoin PYUSD was launching on Stellar in late 2024, it was a turning point. Think about what that means. PayPal isn't some crypto startup trying to prove itself. It's one of the biggest payment companies in the world, with hundreds of millions of users and a global brand that screams trust. By choosing Stellar, PayPal basically told the world, this network is ready for serious money movement. And it wasn't just a symbolic move. PayPal didn't have to choose Stellar. They could have kept everything on Ethereum or Solana. But they wanted speed. They wanted cost efficiency. They wanted rails that actually make sense for payments, not just speculation. This move validated Stellar's design philosophy. For years, Stellar has been saying, we're the payments chain. Now, PayPal backed that up with action. USDC on Stellar. But PayPal isn't the only one. Circle's USDC has also been live on Stellar for a while now. Circle has positioned USDC as the most trustworthy stablecoin out there, regulated, audited, transparent. And by deploying on Stellar, they gave users the best of both worlds. The credibility of USDC with the low-cost infrastructure of Stellar. That combo is powerful. Because if you're running a fintech app in, say, Kenya or Colombia, you don't care about yield farming or complex DeFi. You care about sending value quickly, cheaply, and reliably. Stellar Plus USDC delivers exactly that. The ripple effect of tokenized dollars. The presence of USDC and PYUSD on Stellar does more than just add liquidity. It changes perceptions. Developers start thinking, if PayPal and Circle trust Stellar, maybe we should build here too. Exchanges start thinking, maybe we need deeper liquidity pools on Stellar pairs. NGOs and governments think, if stablecoins can work for PayPal, they can work for aid distribution or payroll too. In other words, the tokenized dollar on Stellar doesn't just serve users. It attracts an entire ecosystem. The technical edge. Here's where it gets interesting. Stellar wasn't just lucky to land these stablecoins. Its technical design makes it almost tailor-made for them. Anchors and asset issuance. Stellar has a built-in system for issuing and managing assets. That means stablecoin providers don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can spin up tokens, connect fiat ramps, and immediately tie into Stellar's ecosystem. Compliance-ready. Stellar has been working closely with regulators, NGOs, and enterprises for years. Unlike some blockchains that see compliance as the enemy, Stellar designed tools that make it easier for big players to meet KYC/AML requirements. Liquidity bridges. Stellar supports seamless exchange between assets. That means someone can move from USDC to PYUSD to local fiat without needing 10 steps and 3 exchanges. These aren't just nice-to-have features. They're critical if you want to run a stablecoin at scale. The real-world edge. But let's step outside the tech bubble for a second. The real magic isn't in the code. It's in the impact. Picture this: a migrant worker in Dubai sending money home to the Philippines. With Stellar stablecoins, fees drop from 7% to nearly 0, and the transfer happens instantly. A small business in Argentina tired of currency collapse. With USDC on Stellar, they can accept payments in dollars and preserve value without a U.S. bank account. An aid agency distributing emergency funds in a refugee camp. With Stellar Rails, they can airdrop stablecoins to people's phones. No banks, no delays, just direct help. This is what makes Stellar different. It's not chasing speculative capital. It's chasing real-world adoption. And stablecoins are the perfect vehicle for that mission. The bigger picture. Here's the question that keeps coming up. Can Stellar actually compete with Ethereum or Tron as a stablecoin hub? The honest answer: Stellar doesn't need to. Ethereum is where institutions and DeFi capital live. Tron is where retail traders and emerging markets already move money. Stellar's role is narrower, but that doesn't make it less powerful. If Stellar becomes the preferred chain for payment companies, NGOs, and fintechs, that's a massive win. Billions of dollars flow through those rails, and every transaction builds trust in the network. The tokenized dollar as Stellar's Trojan horse. Let me leave you with this thought. The tokenized dollar might just be Stellar's Trojan horse. For years, people dismissed Stellar as just another altcoin. But stablecoins change the narrative. They turn Stellar into infrastructure. They make it invisible but essential. When people send PYUSD or USDC across Stellar, they're not thinking about XLM or consensus algorithms. They're just thinking, wow, this is fast and cheap. And that's exactly what Stellar wants. Because once you become invisible infrastructure, you stop being a niche player. You become part of the global financial plumbing. And in 2025, that plumbing is being built around stablecoins. If there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that money moves differently in 2025. The old rails, swift wires, clunky remittance services, banks that shut down at 5 p.m. feel like relics compared to what's happening with stablecoins. And right in the middle of this shift, Stellar has carved out its role as the quiet infrastructure behind tokenized dollars. PayPal's decision to launch PYUSD on Stellar wasn't just a corporate press release. It was a signal. PayPal could have stuck with Ethereum or even gone to Solana, but they didn't. They chose Stellar because it does exactly what payment networks need. It's fast, cheap, and reliable. Suddenly, the story isn't "can Stellar survive?" It's "Stellar is good enough for PayPal." Who's next? And then there's USDC. Circle's regulated stablecoin was already a household name in crypto, but on Stellar, it transforms into something more practical. Imagine a small business in Mexico getting paid in USDC over Stellar instead of waiting days for a wire. Or an aid organization using Stellar Rails to distribute relief instantly in Lebanon. This isn't speculation. It's happening today. What makes Stellar stand out isn't hype. It's purpose-built architecture. The network was designed to issue assets, bridge currencies, and make compliance easier for institutions. That's why these tokenized dollars fit like a glove. On other chains, stablecoins sometimes feel bolted on. On Stellar, they feel native. And here's the kicker. Most people don't even realize they're using Stellar. When someone sends USDC or PYUSD on Stellar, they're not obsessing over block times or consensus mechanisms. They just know the transfer was instant, and the fee didn't burn a hole in their pocket. That invisibility is actually Stellar's strength. It's not chasing headlines, it's becoming plumbing. Of course, challenges remain. Liquidity is still deeper on Ethereum and Tron. Developers still flock to chains with bigger ecosystems. But Stellar isn't playing their game. It's quietly building partnerships with NGOs, fintechs, and now global giants like PayPal. Every new stablecoin that launches on Stellar makes the network harder to ignore. So when we talk about the tokenized dollar on Stellar, we're really talking about a long play. Not a moonshot, not a quick flip. A slow, steady embedding of Stellar into the financial system. And if 2025 is any indication, that bet is starting to pay off. When you step back and look at the stablecoin world in 2025, two giants still tower over everyone else. Tether's USDT and Circle's USDC. Together, they've built an empire worth hundreds of billions of dollars. They have the liquidity, the brand recognition, and the integrations across every major exchange and blockchain. It's like Coke and Pepsi, you can complain all you want, but they dominate the shelves. So where does that leave Stellar? Can it actually compete? Or is it destined to play in the margins? Here's the reality. Stellar isn't trying to replace USDT or USDC. That would be a losing battle. Instead, Stellar is competing at the infrastructure level. Think of it this way, USDT and USDC are the products. Stellar is the shelf space, the distribution channel, the road those products travel on. And in payments, the road matters just as much as the product. USDT may be the most used stablecoin globally, but most of its volume flows on Tron and Ethereum. Circle's USDC, meanwhile, has its deepest liquidity on Ethereum, Solana, and a few Layer 2s. Stellar can't match that liquidity yet, but it doesn't need to. Its value comes from being the chain where those stablecoins actually work for everyday use. Take PYUSD on Stellar. On Ethereum, sending $10 in stablecoin might cost $5 in gas during busy hours. On Stellar, that same $10 transfer costs less than a cent and arrives in seconds. If you're a trader moving millions, maybe you don't care about fees. But if you're a worker sending $200 home, the fee is the difference between groceries on the table and going without. That's where Stellar shines. The competition, then, isn't about who issues the dollar. It's about who makes the dollar usable for the next billion people. And that's the fight Stellar is quietly winning. Now, does Stellar have hurdles? Absolutely. Liquidity depth is still thin compared to Ethereum and Tron. Exchanges don't yet treat Stellar pairs with the same priority. And developers tend to chase ecosystems with faster money flow. But the PayPal and Circle partnerships are changing perceptions. Suddenly, Stellar isn't the forgotten chain. It's a serious option for anyone building payments infrastructure. So, can Stellar dethrone USDT and USDC? Probably not. But can it become the preferred rail for using those stablecoins in the real world? For remittances, aid, fintech, and commerce? Absolutely. And that's where its competition strategy gets interesting. Because in 2025, the stablecoin war isn't just about who issues the money. It's about who delivers it. At the end of the day, Stellar's journey is less about being the loudest name in crypto and more about proving that quiet, consistent progress wins. While giants like USDT and USDC dominate headlines, Stellar has steadily carved its niche in cross-border payments, humanitarian aid, and partnerships that actually put blockchain to work in the real world. It's not chasing hype, it's building infrastructure, and that difference matters. The question isn't just whether Stellar can challenge stablecoin heavyweights, it's whether people, businesses, and governments are ready for a system that prioritizes inclusivity and access over speculation. From powering remittances to enabling aid in crisis zones, Stellar's roadmap feels grounded in utility. That doesn't mean the path is free of challenges, but it does mean Stellar's value proposition extends far beyond trading charts. So, whether you're a curious observer, a crypto investor, or someone watching the evolution of money in real time, keep an eye on Stellar. The quiet builders often shape the loudest revolutions. What do you think? Can Stellar actually disrupt the stablecoin status quo? Or will it remain the reliable underdog powering the rails behind the scenes?